Hi, Chris Tenny-Brittian, and I get to be your instructor for this session of the Ministry Training Program's Intro to New Testament. I'm so excited to get to teach this class. If my life had turned out differently, I would have done a PhD in New Testament. I had taken a couple of New Testament courses, had talked to Luke Timothy Johnson, who at that time was the head of the New Testament program at Emory University, had the handshake there, but God had different plans for me, and I ended up going into active congregational and then denominational ministry. Anyways, it's great to get to be with you here. I have some notes in this general introduction. You've seen this introductory page and the need to check on the syllabus, which I know you have, and to look at the piece I've written. I had a friend recently who was looking for a 9-year-old's version of the Bible overview of the Bible written for adults, though couldn't find one, and so I am writing one, and the introduction is there for you to look. I realized as I was writing the introduction, I went to the Gulf for 10 days near the beach, and well, actually, yes, about a mile and a half from the beach, and began to write, and at the chagrin of my host and of my husband, that introduction just kept going and going and going, and what I thought was going to be an afternoon turned into a full week of writing an introduction, realizing that that truly is my theology. So we're always supposed to claim our biases up front, and that's my bias, if you will. I'm going to go through a couple of pieces. You're going to hear pages turning. Even at the bottom of the screen, you may hear pages turning, but I want to make sure I cover what I think needs to be covered, and here it is. It says, welcome, which I've done. In a minute, we're going to do a syllabus walkthrough, so you may need to pause right now to go and get your syllabus so you're ready for when we get to that point. When you look at the reading and the amount of reading for each week, it looks voluminous. I can just hear it saying, oh my gosh, what's she thinking? I can't possibly do this. Well, listen, I know that a lot of you are in congregational ministry. In fact, I hope all of you are in some sort of congregational ministry. And that doesn't mean the minister, as a staff person. If you're doing anything in ministry in your church, or you're leading a ministry, anything like that, you are unpaid staff. So no such thing as volunteers. If you're, again, okay, you've heard me say all of that. So I recognized fully that you have obligations throughout the week, and no doubt on Sunday. So I try to leave room for all of that. That's why we don't post afternoon on Saturdays. It's to allow you the space, hopefully for a little bit of downtime, and then to get ready for that uptime for worship services, be they Saturday evening, Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Sunday evenings, whenever they are, because worship is what all of us bring in it together. People come in, they want to be fed. Maybe you hear that, I'm not being fed, or I just want to be fed. Well, an hour is not the place that you get fed. Maybe it's dessert, or maybe it's the appetizer, but it's not the full course. And we want to go in there as ready as we can be to inspire people to work on their faith, to get in sync, if you will, to work on their relationship with God and with Jesus, so that they can make it through their week. It's so that they're growing, not just as Christians, but as disciples. But a lot of what I'm saying there is part of the education and leadership development class, and that's in another session. All right, so you're going to look at this, you're going to say, my goodness, this is voluminous, but let me tell you, the Fortress Press commentary, if you haven't looked at it already, large print, lots of spacing, and you just happen to be lucky to be in a large enough class that we're able to divide the different commentary sections. So when you look in Matthew, there are so many different sections. So you won't have to read all of those sections. You'll read a section, maybe two, and then you'll share what's important in that section. What do your classmates need to know? So that they're able to look at that they're able to integrate those pieces into what they're learning. So that's the Fortress Press. Luke Timothy Johnson, the book I wanted to have you read for us to work through is called Writings of the New Testament. It's out of print, so if you wanted to pay $46 for it, or I saw it for $113 on Amazon, you go for it. But I'm going to draw in on that in some of our learnings, in particular when we get to the Gospels and the Pauline letters. You'll see more in there. But this nice little short introduction or overview of the New Testament, that's going to get us through. And when you look at that, it's a little tiny book. It's got little print, but the chapters are very short. You're going to be able to get through those relatively quickly. As for the choice of Bible, I chose this Bible because it's different, but it has a lot of annotations. And I want you to read in a version that you're not used to. When you're studying the Bible, when you're writing Sunday school lessons, when you're writing a sermon or a message, really you need to have at least 3 different versions of the Bible open and in front of you. Bible Gateway is great for that. You can line up 4 or 5 different versions of the Bible and go through them, but at least 3, because each one is going to give you a different timbre to what you're seeing. No one Bible is better than another. I was an ancient Greek major in college, sociology and ancient Greek, and I at one point read the Bible only in the Koine Greek because I was so versed with the Greek. And honestly, the NIV was the closest that I had seen. Now, there have been a number of other versions that I haven't checked out. This one, CEB, that I've suggested, it's got lots of wiggle room, but it is going to help round out our perspectives. And I know that in Overview of the Bible, or if I understand correctly, you worked with the NRSV, and that's really very studious, intellectual, a great study Bible. I want to bring this one in with that as well. Turning the page here, if you can't tell. These VidLectures that are going to be like this, it's going to be just a quick overview, a quick introduction, notes that you need to know, but you're not going to be able to answer the questions in the discussion forum without having watched the VidLectures. And trust me, I know when that happens, okay? So make sure you watch the VidLectures. If you're answering questions, you haven't done that, you haven't done the reading, again, I know it totally affects your grade in the end. If you don't already, feel free to take notes in your books, take notes in your, mark them, highlight them if that works for you. Make sure you do that in your Bibles, and if you, it would behoove you to take some notes somewhere on the VidLectures, not on your computer screen though. Let's see, I've already told you you've lucked out in class size, that you only have to read sections of the commentaries. I'll let you know each week who is reading what, so you've got that. For each section, when it comes to that discussion forum, and I'll be real direct, you're going to see the directions every week. You're going to know, if just in case you are not reading your syllabus, and please read your syllabus, but just in case, I'm going to line out what the readings are each week. And then when you report on your section, you're going to report what your classmates need to know. And then part of what needs to be done for the ministry training program, and if you're looking at ordination or at commissioning in the Christian Church Disciples of Christ, you have to approach the Bible as a devotional. So what we're going to do is, when you have your particular section, I want that to be your Bible devotional for the week. I want you to sit with that scripture, and then one of the questions for you every week is going to be on your section: what attacked you, what confused you, what excited you, what scared you. Now, it may not be all of those, but I want you to be thinking in your reading, what attacked you? It could be attacked your attention. It could be attacked your way of thinking. What attacked you? What confused you? What confused you? What excited you? And what scared you? What might there be in there, and why? Okay, discussion format, there will always be those questions related to the Bible. There's always going to be a content question that is going to take pieces of the content, bring it back home with you, and then there's always what I'll call an integration question. It's one that talks about how are you going to take this information and integrate it into you, but into your ministry, whatever ministry means to you, whatever that is to you. So that's so important. I call that the so what question. I use that when I prepare sermons, when I prepare teachings. It's so what? What do I want you to do with this? What are you going to do? So when I ask you that, it will be phrased in different ways. But the bottom line is that final question will be about integration. What does this mean to you? How are you going to apply this? So what? Why are you having to learn this? Why are you having to study it? And hopefully it's not just so you can get your certificate of pastoral ministry. Hopefully it's because it's going to make a difference in your life and in the life of those that you get to touch. All right, grab that syllabus. Turn me off for a moment while I grab mine. Got it in hand? Okay. Here we go. Course description, which I realize now has 2 of them. Well, you will see at some point syllabus version 1.2, which will get that one straightened out. Not sure why that is. All right, overview of the Bible. I know you've had that already. The objectives are there. It's so you'll practice regular Bible study as a discipline. I asked a person who was at a commission on ministry, getting ready to be ordained. It was her ordination interview. What is your favorite book of the Bible? And she told me what her favorite book about the Bible was. I brought it back down. What is your favorite book of the Bible? I mean, as in, is it a New Testament book or an Old Testament book? Like, which one is it? We don't always think about that. And then, what did you read last week? What are you reading right now? Or better yet, what did you read last week that attacked you, that confused you, that excited you, that scared you? And I've done that with groups of ministers, and you do not know how many times I've asked that question, and I get things like, well, my favorite scripture is, no. What did you read last week? That you didn't read just for sermon prep or for Sunday school prep or because you had to. See what I'm saying? This is about reading the Bible because it enriches us, because God tells us to impress it on our brains and our minds and in our spirits, to allow it to speak to us, not just for some message or lesson. So that's our first overall objective, to read the New Testament texts in light of the gospel, be able to draw on them for preaching and worship, analyze biblical texts using current scholarly methods, be aware of different critical approaches to and resources for interpreting the New Testament, recognize the social, economic, political, and other contexts out of which the New Testament grew, distinguish literary genres and theological schools of thought that appear in the New Testament, and identify the role your experiences and culture play out in your interpretation of the text. Well, all of that sounds, oh my gosh, but it's all going to be in there. And in fact, if you turn to page, what would it be? 4 at the beginning of your assignments, you'll see these numbers up there, objectives, and that's how we're going to be covering these various objectives. Okay, you've got your required text. I want to say one more piece about the Fortress commentary. The reason I chose this one specifically is because the editors, one is African American, one is Hispanic, and one is Anglo. So we're going to get 3 different views, and it's a very diverse, diverse authorship as well. The people that are writing these pieces, these spaces, the commentaries, they come from a wide array of theologies and of course the economic, well, I'm not sure about economic, but definitely the racial and ethnic variations as well. Okay. Here's your course requirements, and these are really, really important, okay? Get the texts. Comprehensively engage. Watch the lectures. Look at the reflection questions. All of that will be posted by 9 a.m. on Mondays at the absolute latest. Don't read just for the questions. That's one of the reasons I don't post. You've got what the readings are, but I don't post the questions because I don't want you to read for the questions. I want you to read for the reading. Participate in the discussion forum. Again, very important. You have to respond to those questions, to the discussion forum, no later than 9 a.m. on Wednesday. Okay, so you've got the questions on Monday, you've got all day Monday, all day Tuesday, 9 a.m. by Wednesday. Then you begin, as soon as those are posted, begin to interact with your classmates. And by 9 a.m. on Thursday, in the next 24 hours, you have to have responded to at least 3 of your classmates' postings. And this is not, oh, that's nice, or oh, I never thought about it that way. You are interacting with them. What do you have to add? What questions do you have? And then you're going to add your own more questions or your thoughts to each other. It doesn't have to necessarily be to the one that you responded to, but you're going to interact. And make sure that you're doing that across, again, a wide variety. I have had classes where students reply or interact with nearly everybody's post. Again, large class, you may not be able to do this. By Thursday, 9 a.m., 3 interactions. And then I want you to continue to interact through Thursday, through Friday, until noon on Saturday. I read nothing else after noon on Saturday. Do not read anything else after noon on Saturday. You are done. Actually, that's half a lie, because I will look after noon on Saturday just in case you had questions that you needed, or you put something in there that was like, I've never heard of it put that way, in which case I'm to respond. I'll respond. But you, nothing after noon. Got it? All right. Let's see. We practice respect here. You don't have to agree, but this is not an argument. It is about respect. Not only will we, you and me, have a very close conversation if we are not able to keep respect, but if it happens after that again, then we will have to bring Leslie into the conversation. We've only had to do that once, but to be really, really clear, I want to be clear about that. Yes, and with that posting, the reason I'm so specific this time around is because I've had students go up, they post Thursday, they might post something on Friday, but I know that they're not on anymore after that. Do you know? I can tell that your last postings, okay? So I know when you've been up there, when you haven't been up there. It's all available to me. So stay up there. This is not just some 3-day or 4-day class. This is Monday through noon on Saturday. Monday through noon on Saturday, and quite honestly, your postings are Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, half a day of post, 3.5 days. Okay, do it. Let's see what else. Saturday afternoons, relax, recenter, read, and Sunday is your day off. If you have to catch up on reading, then do that on Sunday. But please take some time for you. Do something nice for yourself. Any written assignments at this point, the only written assignment is going to be a final one. I haven't written that out yet. I'm still debating between a couple. Again, my written assignments are always some kind of integration. I want to see what you're doing, have done with what you've learned, but also what you're going to do with what you've learned. This is about you. This is about the people you serve with. This is about that serve with congregation, Big C church, but it's also about the kingdom. Okay, kingdom focus in there. I know you're reading with me. I hate to have to read that final assignment. You'll have the date for that. It'll be a week after the last day of class, due by 9 a.m. PDF format. We'll say more about that in a later lecture. My course expectations: complete each assignment by the due date and time. always contact me. You can contact me, chris@effectivechurch.com. That's my cell phone number. Texting, I get overwhelmed with so many texts. Please call me directly. Leave a message if I don't answer. If I email you, respond to me within 24 hours. And please acknowledge and cite all resources. So that's going to bump your grade up, by the way. So when you're answering discussion questions, when you're on that discussion forum, if you will bring in outside resources, put them up there, but make sure you say where you got them from. Put the internet link, if that is. Go ahead and cite your sources there. Is there anything else I need to tell you? I will respond to your inquiries in 24 hours, and I will grade those final assignments within 2 weeks of that as well. All right, this is a much longer piece than I already had wanted it to be. Maybe let's just look one more time. We'll look at the first part of the syllabus. You can see there has the topic when there needs to be something more specific. I'm looking at week 3 rather than week 1. Can you see I have a lot of paper in front of me? There it is, week 1. You're going to watch resources, VidLecture, the readings, there they are, and your assignments. Respond to discussion forum questions by 9, respond to the posts of at least 3 others by 9 Thursday, continue interacting Thursday, Friday, and Saturday until noon. Let's see, is there something else? You know what? I'm going to add to this first week as well. It's going to be a questionnaire. I'll have it in there as one of your discussion questions, I think, or instead of one of your discussion questions. It's going to look like a test, and it's going to post as a test, I think, but because I've never done a test, but I know that I can. So it's going to post up there. The only reason I'm doing that is I want to see what you may be missing or not having in basic information. So I know one of the questions is going to be what's a canon, what's the canon, something like that. What are canonical scriptures? And one of the choices will be don't know. Okay, so if you don't know, that's okay. I just know I need to go over that. All right. One of them will be, what are the synoptic gospels? So, if you know them, write them down. And if you don't, then just say, I don't know. No right or wrong questions. It's only telling me what I need to teach based on what expectations are, objectives in this class. All right. If you have questions, Chris, it's K-R-I-S, chris@effectivechurch.com. Effective Church is the company, if you will. I hate calling that but we do coaching for ministers and church leaders, as well as consulting for congregations. I specialize in strategic change, so how to think strategically and how to move through that. Conflict intervention is another one of my specialties. And encouraging, I guess I'll say that to you as well. My personal mission statement, the reason I know I'm here on earth, is to equip, empower, and to encourage people. To equip, to give you tools. That's what we're doing in this course. To empower you so that you're not dependent on me or anybody else, to get to where you feel comfortable using the tools that you have and that you grow into, that you're given. That's that empower, equip, empower, and then encourage. I think of it as being a cheerleader, and as you are growing, just to be able to say, woohoo, good job. Good job. I like nothing, well, I'm sure there are things I like more, but I love, how about that? I love being able to visit with ministers I've been working with for some time, or that I saw at some point, and it's been a year, 2 years, 5 years, to see where they are. And I just am like, woohoo, awesome. All right, that is this introduction. I hope that it's helpful. Email me if it's not been helpful. If you've got more questions, I'm here for your success. That's really what I want you to do, is be successful in this class. I'm going to do everything to help you do that, but you got to bring your part to it. All right, we're going to have a great 8 weeks. I'll see you on discussion boards. Bye-bye.